Welcome friends to a review on the 2026 Toyota Corolla XSE. I've done several reviews in the past regarding this vehicle, and I've also done a separate video talking about the latest changes and updates for the 2026 model year. I can have that video linked in the description box below. Right now, I just want to get into my driving impressions. So even after all these years, I still like and recommend this car. It maintains a certain Toyota charm and character when you daily drive it. It never really gets old to drive, which is one of the best qualities regarding the sedan. And we have here the naturally aspirated 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, producing 169 horsepower and 151 pounds-feet of torque. Again, doesn't sound amazing on paper, but I really appreciate the way they have this naturally aspirated 4-cylinder tuned for the real world. The throttle, it's quite touchy, quite frankly. You always feel like you have power on tap. There's never any lag going on here. We have this CVT transmission with the physical first gear that responds and performs rather well, and it also contributes to pretty amazing real-world fuel economy. I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, the performance, especially for city driving, you have enough power here to feel like it's pretty effortless. And when you wind it out all the way, of course, you have nice progressive power build. So trust me, even though it doesn't sound amazing on paper, you will be satisfied with the way this pulls. In fact, it's a similar story with the Mazda 3 NA 4-cylinder as well. The way both of these companies tune their NA 4-cylinders, it feels like it has some pep initially off the line, which is going to impress most customers. Now, talking about the fuel economy, so there's 3 trim levels regarding the pure gas version of the Corolla. You have the entry-level LE, then we have the SE in the middle, which is what I personally recommend, and then we have this top-of-the-line XSE. On Toyota's spec sheet, it says that the SE and the XSE can get 31 city, 40 on the highway. However, on the Toyota consumer website, apparently the XSE gets 38 out on the highway. I don't know if they're purposely trying to downplay the EPA estimates to make the hybrid look better. I don't know what kind of shenanigans are going on there, but regardless, whatever it is, in the real world, you should be able to even beat these EPA estimates, because if you drive this more mellow, you get amazing fuel economy to the point where you don't even need a hybrid, quite frankly. Now, it would be a different story if the hybrids came standard with all-wheel drive, which it doesn't. The way they've positioned the hybrid, it's interesting. I mean, the LE and the SE of the hybrid can be optioned with all-wheel drive for an additional $1,400. The top-of-the-line XLE hybrid Corolla cannot be optioned in with all-wheel drive. Very strange. And that's supposed to serve as like your luxury Corolla with smaller 16-inch wheels. I think an SE pure gas model, I think that's the best value proposition. You skip the premium package on that, and you have an SE Corolla sedan for like 27 grand. I think that's the best value. Here, the way you see it here, it's over 30 grand for this XSE with the JBL audio system. The other reason why I recommend at least stepping up to the SE is because you do get better handling here. We have here the multi-link rear suspension. A entry-level LE would come with the torsion beam rear, which, if you don't know what the difference is, a torsion beam rear suspension, it's a more simplistic, cheaper rear suspension setup. With the multi-link, you should be getting better handling and even better ride quality in the back. And it's true, even with these larger 18-inch wheels, the Corolla, it is quite supple. I appreciate the ride quality, and the LE, it just comes with steel wheels as well. So yeah, I just think that the SE is perfect. Now, how about some of the other qualities regarding this vehicle? So refinement-wise, it's okay. I do find that the Mazda 3 and the upper trim levels of the Honda Civic, they are going to be quieter than this. Of course, around town, this is fine. Like, city driving is where the Corolla shines. It is so pleasurable on a daily basis, as I've already described. However, one of the cons regarding the Corolla, it's going to be the highway performance. So we do not have here amazing high-speed stability, I've noticed. Even when you tone it down to like 75 mile per hour driving, this Corolla, it is getting persuaded by the wind a bit more than what I would like. The Civic and the Mazda 3 sedan, they both feel more stable and planted at higher speeds. Something to keep in mind there. The brakes are very good with the Corolla. It's easy to modulate. Very nice. You can drive the Corolla rather smoothly. Steering is on point. I like the steering weight of this car. So yeah, I really appreciate the way this vehicle feels. It's only the high-speed stability, which I'm not a big fan of. other than that, good car, still enjoy it after all these years. With that established, let's go ahead and let's transition into the interior segment now. Okay, now that we are stopped, let's go ahead and let's talk about this interior space. Obviously, nothing's really changed here, but it's still a good ergonomic place to spend time. There's a decent level of solidity here. However, things like the Civic and the Mazda 3, they do offer a more premium feeling cabin. I do, however, like these seats. They're pretty comfortable. I just wish that at least on this XSE model that they would give us power lumbar. We don't have any lumbar support here for the driver, which is unfortunate. But you know what? Even without it, it's pretty comfortable and pretty supportive. Infotainment is rather easy to use. We have the separate climate control here with the physical buttons and switches. Always great to see. Just wish that they would also give us a physical volume knob as well. You just have buttons underneath the infotainment along with the steering wheel, but an actual knob would have been nice to see. No 360 camera here. You just have a basic backup camera, which is fine. I mean, this car is rather easy to drive and to park. Even a Civic Touring hatchback doesn't come with a 360 camera. We do have here the wireless Apple CarPlay and the Android Auto. All of that works pretty well. We have a wireless phone charger here with the heated seats. You do have the larger displays here, both for the infotainment and the gauge cluster. It's actually a full digital gauge cluster with the XSE. On the mid-level SE model that I personally recommend, you can option in the larger displays if you want, but I would just skip it, to be honest with you, because another reason why I like the SE is because for 2026, apparently they gave it the standard blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. That is great to see. Before, that was part of a separate package you had to pay extra for, so well done there. SE just further solidifying itself as the better value proposition. The other thing is the XSE would have been decent value if it came standard with the JBL audio system, but instead that's a $600 option even on the XSE. And it's not a bad audio system. It's not like that audiophile grade audio, but I think the average person will appreciate just how punchy and bassy it feels. We do have here the one-touch up and down windows for all four windows. Decent practicality for both the center armrest and the glove box. We do have here a regular sunroof, no sunglass holder here. The rear seats, they are pretty good. I'm 5'11". Getting in and out of this car, not really an issue. In fact, I think that the Corolla is a bit easier to get in and out of than the Honda Civic. The Civic just feels like you're sitting on the floor. It's pretty crazy how low slung it feels, but regardless, the rear legroom, it's fine for this class, but keep in mind, despite me being 5'11", I do sit closer to the steering wheel than most people my size, so that's also helping out with my rear legroom, but also we have some good toe room underneath the front seats as well. So overall, pretty practical. I appreciate it. No vents back there, but this is a compact car, so the air does circulate to the back pretty well. And the trunk, it's a little over 13 cubic feet, but I love the wide opening of the trunk. It makes it very practical, and you can of course fold down the rear seats as well. However, the rear seats, they don't have like a center armrest, if you will, so you don't have a center pass through or anything. Something to keep in mind regarding the Corolla, but overall it's still a nice practical package that I still recommend to most families. And yeah, that's my look at the Toyota Corolla sedan. If you found value with this review, make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. Take care and goodbye.